But we are going to be looking at a real kind of dive into the world's most populous region, but from 35,000 feet. I will start with the same question I've asked everyone. I'm going to start with you, Calvin, because you've been to the most music matters than I think anyone else in the room. I think you've missed... You've missed one out of 19, which is pretty good. So the most important question, Calvin, what was the last song you listened to and what was the last concert you attended?
Well, last song like this morning.
Last song ever that you listened to?
Well, actually, it's a very stupid question, but anyway,
he's already started.
Well, I've been listening over the weekend. Obviously, being Universal, the whole spat between Drake and Kendrick, and trying to decipher the lyrics and what they're talking about.
Last concert.
It's a Universal artist, Nick DeReal from Taiwan. Very good. Yeah. Okay,
so tell us, give us a bite-sized age-specific overview. What's going on in Universal's world? Are we allowed to mention the TT word again? But what's going on in Asia? What's going on in Asia Pacific?
Lots is going on in Asia Pacific. I think as far as Universal is concerned, our focus remains, protecting the artist's interests is always going to be a big part, and creating the right ecosystem for artists to thrive and has a strong career is going to be very, very important. Creating more superstars, and I think the lifeblood of the music industry is always, having those big acts to front the entire industry. And I think, it's the most challenging work, but it's also the most rewarding work when you see those come to fruition. For people to continue to be interested in the music industry. I see the person before was talking about Taylor, was talking about technology, and for us is utilizing this technology, but still creating foremost these superstars that many other future aspiring singers can look up to and say, one day I will be that person. And without that kind of aspiration, is everybody's just equally being mediocre. There's nothing to inspire new generation of musicians, whether it's sports or whatever, gaming, you always have Faker or Roger Federer or whatever. And I think the same with the music industry as well. And I think Universal like to play the part in creating that. And I think for us in the region, as you know, I'm a big advocate of domestic music, is really trying to bring some of these artists, a local superstar, into a regional and hopefully one day a global superstar. So that's the dream, but it's getting closer. It's getting closer.
I know you're mainly responsible for ASEAN and South Korea, and we're going to talk to Sun about South Korea in a minute, but what are the exciting markets for Universal right now?
Musically, I think I'm really fascinated by how fast the music is developing in Vietnam, for example. And we have an artist that I've never seen her perform live before, but we just signed her a month ago, and she's going to perform in the Def Jam night. Artist called Liu Grace. I think she's going to shock me probably on Friday night, because the music that we hear is so out there. But the best part is that it has that thing that you say, you know what, it's very creative, it's very exciting, it's very different, but it's accessible. I think that's the key word right now when there's so much music out there, music is democratized. It's like how to find those gems, And back then, it was like the studio system, right? You have the studio system, you have 20 demos. Now, we talk about having how many tracks being uploaded on the DSP a day? 150,000. So how do we find that gem? But, we continue to evolve. We continue to use technology to help us sift through those talents. And hopefully we'll find those talents. But Korea continue to also evolve musically as well, but they are now the leaders in terms of globalizing pop. But yeah, I really am very excited about Vietnam from talent perspective.
But I don't think there's that many people in the world who have supported.
The Vietnamese there? All right, okay.
That was our first
Cảm
live
ơn.
performance for the. Do I have rights for that? Am I going to get blacklisted on? No. Okay, so we're going to go. We're going to go from label to platform to label to platform. I think so. And you mentioned Korea and Sun. It's wonderful to have you with us on stage. Look, the K-Wave started over. I was trying to work this out. It started around I remember 1998 when we launched Channel V in Korea. I'm aging myself, and everyone kind of laughed. I went, oh K-pop, oh how sweet. But so Calvin's given a kind of a bite-sized overview on Asia Pacific. So firstly, I do need to know what was the last song you listened to and the last concert you went to. But then, really, what factors do you think have really gone into making K-pop just so popular?
Sure. So first of all, apologies for the giving hard time for Channel V launch in Korea back then.
We tried.
Yeah. For my last song, I want to say, introduce the song, The Trip to Heaven by Chan Lee. Maybe this person is very unfamiliar to everyone here, almost, because he's a trot singer. Do you know the genre trot, T-R-O-T? So yeah, that is a part of the Korean music genres, has been popular so many years. But I see some transportation in the trot as well, because nowadays young singers, they sing the trot songs with some dancing. So I can see this kind of between really K-pop groups and the traditional trot. And the other song I want to say is, so about 2 weeks ago, I've been to Mumbai, and then I had the chance to watch the performance of the girl group called Wish, W-I-S-H. I highly recommend for you to watch their music video if you have a straight type about Bollywood music. It's fascinating.
So Bollywood.
It's they are kind of between the traditional Bollywood and the K-pop and J-pop, C-pop groups, and they're very talented. So it's a kind of eye-opening experience for, let's say, iPop. Yeah, iPop experience.
So tell us what K-pop is. As Calvin said as well, it's a global. It's not a phenomenon. It's a 30-year.
But not trot.
But what factors do you think have
Sure.
contributed to this huge global?
Right. So Korea is a very small country with only 50 million population, right? So ironically, it contributed to our global growth. So K-pop labels have thoughtfully developed and implemented the export strategies. So for example, they carry out the global talent scouts, also train them over years before debut. So it's quite easy to find the global audition by SM, YG, JYP, or HYBE. Also, some members of the debut groups, they would train for 5-6 years in the one label. Also, these labels develop rigorous programs, so make sure their artists are very good at singing, dancing, even language skills, and stage presence. So this kind of commitment to the artist development produces really highly scaled performance. Also, they can captivate the global audience. And another factor I want to say is they are highly utilize their global platforms. It includes also collaboration with international artists, also intensive social media campaigns, and sometimes they're doing the targeted advertising and marketing. Also, they are willing to do something new. I mean, they want to carry out never seen before campaigns or even experiment. So when YouTube launched Shorts, do you know who launched the very first global Shorts campaign with YouTube?
Were they Korean by any chance?
Yeah, BTS. Yes. And also, do you know who experimented paid online concert with YouTube globally? That is Blackpink.
Okay.
Yeah. So these examples actually show how much K-pop labels are willing to do something new, and they want to be out of the comfort zone, and then try to utilize the global network with YouTube.
They've always tried to localize as well, right? There's always been like someone in the band can speak the local English or Chinese, or
Right.
that's always been very important, and it's obvious. But think about most Western bands and say to them, do they have a Chinese speaker or a Hindi speaker? They'd look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So I can say globalization is kind of DNA of K-pop nowadays, because it's very common to see foreign languages from their lyrics. Also collaboration with international artists. Yeah, so by doing so, actually they could break down the language barrier, also make K-pop more accessible to global listeners, for sure.
Okay, so we're going to come back to you and talk about where do you think it's heading for K-pop. But so we've gone music company, platform. So now it's back to music company. Cyrus, tell us a little bit more about what TuneCore is, what you're doing with the music industry, and what's kind of hot for TuneCore right now in Asia Pacific.
Yeah, for sure. Where do I start, man?
Oh, you start with your last song and last concert.
Last song was a children's song this morning because I played for my kids. And I'm going to be direct. I went to a Coldplay concert in Bangkok in Feb just to catch real fireworks, right? Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, TuneCore. Tell us a little bit about who is TuneCore and what's going on in Asia.
TuneCore is the DIY arm of Believe, and we are one of the world's leading music distribution and artist development platform. And we've always been local first and artist-centric. And TuneCore, as you know, is the DIY arm of Believe, and we have always been anticipating that the markets would grow domestically and that local music consumption would increase gradually to take a larger share. And what we know is that there's an increasing demand for local artists, but at the same time, international artists are still very, very much popular. One prime example would be, of course, Taylor Swift. So big congrats. Big congrats to Calvin and the UMG team on this. But what we also know...
I'll pay for the fine.
You're doubling it.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Calvin's going to double the swear jar.
I'm the reason the swear jar started, right? So,
Yeah.
matter.
Actually, you are the reason for the first ever swear. Sorry, it was you and Chuggy. Sorry, but yes, carry.
Yeah, no worries, man. I just wanted to say thanks to him. Yeah, so in essence, so we still know that there's an increasing demand of local artists, and the local markets are actually growing much faster, getting more diverse, more balanced, and more independent. And that's why we have always been continuously pushing local first initiatives for the region to better serve our artists. One example that I have for TuneCore is the launch of localized payment methods. GDP per capita in most of the geos in Southeast Asia is actually much lower than our counterparts in Europe and US. And that translates to, amongst other factors, the credit card penetration is sub 10% in, let's say, Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, and Indonesia. So what this translates to, right, is that e-wallets and alternative payments are the predominant way to pay. And what happens here? So you have a great localized website, awesome team running on the ground, and a good product to pair with. But all this would be secondary if the majority of artists is not able to avail your services simply because they cannot pay. And so one big project that Southeast Asia undertook was really the integration of local payment methods into our backend. So right now we have GoPay and Dona in Indonesia, Momo in Vietnam, Gcash in Philippines, and Google Pay in the rest of the region. And to the best of my knowledge, we are still the only global DIY distributor who has launched local payment methods in Southeast Asia. And this has boded well not only in terms of our acquisition efforts, but also in terms of our ability to serve a larger number of legitimate artists in the region.
And what markets in APAC are exciting? Do you think are the really exciting ones right now?
Well, I think there are two, like what Kelvin mentioned, Vietnam is growing super fast, and we're seeing a lot of artists emerging from that. And of course, the other one...
You didn't sing.
The other one would be Indonesia, yeah. And we have been having constant dialogues with musicians on the ground, and there's actually two recurring themes that they have feedback. One is the lack of education to actually kickstart or accelerate their career. And the other thing is the lack of live performance opportunities and experience. And to address the former, we actually established recently community hubs in both capital and satellite cities in the region to conduct masterclasses, workshops, networking sessions with our partners and KOLs who have direct industry experience, just to give and educate the artists and try to elevate the music scene, right? I saw Kelvin looking at his watch.
He's thinking about Arsenal winning the Premiership.
I promise I'll be there soon, right? Just one more initiative. It's like we recently had our Believe Amplify event in Manila, and I just wanted to have a shout out to all the DSPs who participated, including Meta, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and TikTok. Yeah.
And you mentioned live music, so I'm just going to use that as an opportunity to say thank you. TuneCore have supported the Music Matters Live Festival this year, so thank you so much for that as well.
No worries.
So you're not thanking Def Jam?
I'm getting there. Def Jam sold out on Friday. I was going to say, to get to Def Jam, do we just say we're friends of Calvin?
See, this is the difference. Quality counts.
But you got to start somewhere. Dona, we've gone music company, platform, music company, so coming to you last as a platform. You're the head of music for Meta in the region. Let's hear, I need to know your last song and the last concert, but also then tell us what's hot for Meta in this part of the world. And what's been wonderful actually in Clark Key was seeing all the artists running around last night producing reels and having a lot of fun collaborating with each other, real at kind of ground floor level. But what's hot for the company right now?
All right. So I'm just going to start with the song, right? So no, let's start with the concert. It's shorter. So the last concert I went to was Bruno Mars, which was amazing. He's just an amazing performer. And the last song I listened to was actually Dua Lipa, French Exit. So last Friday she released her new album, and so she was the first artist to use the Add Yours music sticker that we just launched on Stories. So I was just very curious to see how she would be using it and get people to contribute to her story with their preferred music from the album. But I was also curious to see what French Exit meant. And it was interesting. I just learned that it was a term to say that you just disappear or escape from a party very discreetly, but quickly. So in French, we actually say filer à l'anglaise, which actually means exiting the English way. And no, it's got nothing to do with Brexit, but you know, this term existed way before.
I'm just going to get in trouble with literally every single one of you. In some way, I've done something just by being English. So what's going? Yeah, what's the exciting stuff that's going on for Meta right now?
Well, you know, like for us, music has been a rising conversation around the world across all of our apps, especially Facebook and Instagram. And so we've seen a lot of young people using it to discover music and new artists all the time. We know that 3 out of 4 Gen Z actually are part of a fandom, you know, like with the Swifties or even like the BTS Army. So that's something that we are very, very focused on, and we try to create new products and new features that will allow that connection to go deeper. So everything that you are seeing on Instagram and Facebook that are related to music are there to help fans to get connected to their artists, to get closer to them, to learn more about their music, about themselves as well. And so, yeah, we've been releasing so many products, and that's quite challenging sometimes for creators and musicians, but the opportunity is here. They have different ways to talk about their music, to connect with their fans. They can take it from a town square, like Reels, for example, to go to the lounge where they can just talk to their fans directly through WhatsApp channel or IG broadcast channels. The other thing that we recently announced is a change in the way we could recommend content on our platforms, especially on Instagram. So the idea is really to help smaller creators to get discovered, to get a chance to break through all the algorithms that we have, and to get their content distributed. So this is going to start to roll out, and we are hoping that they will see some benefits out of it in the next few months. There's also like a lot of focus on rewarding original content. So, you know, from June 1st, you'll see like whenever there's some recommendation, if it's a reshared content, we will actually prioritize the original content. And so we will put it back and put a sort of label on the reshared content saying that this is a content that has been originally posted by this account, and we will credit that account.
Very cool. Well, thank you again for joining us and for the fun we were having with the Reels last night as well. A lot of the artists are really enjoying that. Calvin, Donna just mentioned opportunities. From a universal perspective, or from a music industry perspective, what do you think are the real exciting opportunities for artists or music companies in the region today?
Well, I think as the world is getting smaller, I think opportunities emerge. What's most exciting that I'm looking forward to is to have local talent become regional talent become a global talent, and Korea have shown the way that global superstars can come from anywhere. You know, I mean, the recent Amapiano, whatever, is also another global sensation from Africa. That have created a few very exciting new artists, and I think this is what I really look forward to. Technology has helped bridge the gap in terms of music production, and we're very excited about, you know, some of the A word, you know, as they call it, you know, and we're embracing it wholeheartedly. Helping musicians to be able to bridge the gap between where we are and to ensure the quality is of global nature, and hopefully fast-tracking that capability for the talent to become very big. We know there's a lot of talent in the region. It's how we invest, how we equip them with the best possible tools, you know, obviously using the global platforms, which also accelerate that process of becoming more global, to really have those kind of excitement. So the next time, for example, Zach Tabullo come on stage, he's a global star, for example, instead of a regional star he is now. So those are the kind of things that really excites me. But it also creates a lot of challenging prospects as well, because now everybody wants to be a musician. So you know, it's like, before the creation of this whole new tech that you'll be talking about in the next 2 days, there's sampling, right? There's, you know, you can buy a program and you can create music, and you have no idea how many of these musicians that I met, and I say, keep your day job, you know, because they just cut and paste and make music and think it's very good, and, you know. But what it has created, actually, which is the exciting part, why I want to bring this issue up, is people expectation, the consumer expectation of music will continue to rise. Because now, what was good a couple of years before, people will view it as being only average. So it gives that challenge for musicians to continue to elevate themselves to create music never before can be made. You know, I mean, I was playing the Billie Eilish track to one of my colleagues this morning, and it's like, you know, if you look at the intricacies of the production, you know, that's not something that you hear 20, 30 years ago. And that's largely due to the way music is being made. You know, some of that doesn't even have live instruments in it, but it sounded like there's live instruments and whatever not. So these are the things that human expectation will rise. And that's exciting. And hopefully this will also be able to, you know, how do you say, to create standout musicians, so to say, and because there's so much music going on, and you heard about people saying 150,000 tracks a day being uploaded. Can you imagine how many is that in a week, in a month? You know, even some of the platforms is saying like the cost of storing these products are probably more expensive. And then you hear about people talking about, I think Luminate released something in a sense of 45 million tracks last year don't have a single stream. So what's going on? Does it mean that even the person who originated the song doesn't even stream his own track? You know? And you have 185 million or 80% of music being released last year has less than 1,000 streams. So that's the kind of challenge that we, even as consumer, are facing. And you know, sometimes you listen to the new music coming out every week, you're like, man, I'm getting numb, you know? So these are the kind of challenges that us as labels, we want to be able to help, you know? Many years ago, we talked about when social media become a big thing, YouTube become global, major labels, they're dead. You know, they're no longer viable. Everybody can do a DIY. We're still here, and all the superstars, or at least a big majority of it, I mean, there's still a lot of good indie labels, don't get me wrong, you know, it's still coming from these people. So as much as technology has advanced, you know, being able to tell the quality of good versus mediocre is still very, very important part that the industry needs to play in. Otherwise, you know, I was again talking to my colleague this morning from Virgin, you know, otherwise we'll be going to like imagine if we're still buying CDs, we'll be not going to a record store, we'll be going to a massive warehouse, you know, and you do not know what to buy because there's so much of it there, you know? So you ended up like, you know, a kid in a candy store, you ended up walking out of the candy store because it's too much and you do not know what you want.
It's a very interesting analogy.
You know?
It's
So,
very interesting, yeah.
but it's, you know, because we're consumers, we listen to music so much, and you say, maybe 5 years ago I would like that song, but I don't like it now because its standard is not good enough, you know, because people are making better tracks. If you talk to producers, they can tell you which sampling pack they're getting this from now. Can you imagine, you know, this is the good, the bad, and the ugly of technology, but we want to be able to use it in a good way, you know. Of course, in AI come a lot of challenges. For example, how to be responsible for the copyright holders and all these things. It's like, how do we make it? We have a program with YouTube right now to try and solve all these problems, not just for Universal, but for the whole industry, so that the real musicians that create the real product are being compensated in the right way. And these are the challenges that I look forward to, you know, with our partners, obviously, you know, to make that into a reality so the next generation and the next generation of musicians is going to be able to benefit and have a career from it.
Well,
you know?
we have a lot of sessions this afternoon and tomorrow talking about AI and talking about...
Can you focus on that responsible part when you...
There's a debate after lunch with Song talking about the very same thing, and Meng was talking about it earlier as well. I know that we didn't have enough time for this session, okay? So
I apologize, I'm stealing 5 minutes away.
All four of you have already told me about that. But so let's finish by looking to the future and what's coming up. And Sun, I'm going to start with you. What new trends or developments can we expect to see from K-pop? What's next?
So K-pop has remarkably and very quickly evolved to cater to the diverse, the global audiences. And I see the diversification in genres into like hip hop and ballad and even trot that I just mentioned earlier. Also languages. And I also think the K-pop tried to do something more than just entertainment. What I mean by that is he embraced some themes and messages that resonate with the global audience, like social issues and self-empowerment, like a BTS Self Myself campaign with the UNICEF, which delivered a very positive message for self-love and self-care. So I think this kind of the role for the community and society is one thing that I am expecting now. Also, of course, AI that just Kelvin mentioned, and then one of the key topic for this this event. Already we see the K-pop labels use the AI to create and produce their songs and contents. So AI will be an integral part of the production going forward, and K-pop is not the exception, of course. And lastly, fandom. Whenever people ask me, son, what do you think, like, what is really the key driver for K-pop's global growth? I say fandom. Fans have played a key role in the growth, and I see their contribution roles will be getting bigger and bigger. Also, K-pop artists are very savvy at using like social medias and YouTube to communicate and engage with their fans. Also, this kind of like connection creates a very special bond between artists and their fans. Also, nowadays, K-pop auditions have global fan votes as a part of the judging process, right? So fans feel like they are part of their like favorite artist journey, and then artists also feel like, okay, they are kind of one team, like one team spirit. So I see this kind of fandom and fan engagement will be continue, also intensifying going forward.
Fantastic. Cyrus, what's up next for TuneCore?
Well, instead of focusing on opportunities with which some of my distinguished panels have already spoken, right, I'd like to probably touch on the challenges, which is streaming fraud. So unfortunately, nobody is exempted from fraud, from the independents to the majors, and TuneCore is actually pretty vocal about combating streaming fraud in a large sense, and that's why we have spearheaded an alliance called Music Fights Fraud Alliance, together with Believe, Downtown Music Holdings, Spotify, as well as other notable partners, to try and combat fraud by sharing our databases and banning releases and taking down all the releases that have been deemed as bad actors. Yeah.
And we have there's a streaming fraud session right after lunch with Beat the App. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're back here after lunch, to address exactly that. I mean, I hadn't heard of streaming fraud till September last year. And so, you know, that's going to be hitting that head on.
It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But I would say that we are taking actionable steps to try and reduce it. It's always going to be around.
We should find a way to prevent it from happening, rather than doing takedowns. I think we need to find those kind of like, we're working also with technology company to ensure that it doesn't get uploaded in the first place, because otherwise you're going to have the situation where takedown, it's like, you know, whack-a-mole kind of thing, you know. I think that's also not very efficient in that way. You know?
I would love to carry on this, but we're totally out of time. We're running over time because it's my show. We can. My bat, my ball. Final word from Dona. What's exciting in Meta World?
Well, I'm just going to say that I'm very excited about the artist collaborations that we are doing this week at Music Matters. So we have paired a few artists, so keep an eye on those. We've got Berry Wham, Nadif Pasalama, we also had Elijah Woods, and so all those guys are going to work together as collaborators, and we will be working with them on Reels. The other thing that we are super excited about is for the end of the year. So my team and I have been working on a lot of education, and so one of the things that we've been piloting out of London is this music artist events that we are doing before that education session. It's called Meta Loves Music, and that one got a Music Week Awards, last week. So we are very happy to roll this out in APAC.
Cool. Well, Dona, Calvin, Sun, and Cyrus, thank you so much for making music matter.